Today we're going to be taking a look at the Lomogon. This is a brand new lens from Lomography which has a very distinct and interesting kind of character to it. It's a 32mm f2.5 lens, very classic design lens, very similar to the Lomography LCA lenses. And I've had it for a few days now. I actually got this from my buddy Edward, who met up with me at the Film Paideia event in California, and he handed this off to me from Lomography, basically just to try it out for a week or so and share my thoughts. So big thanks to Lomography and Edward for getting this in my hands, and big thanks to Midwest Photo Exchange for this camera, because this is a 5D Mark IV. I have never owned a Canon camera, film or digital. Somehow in the last 15 years I've never owned one, and this is a Canon EF mount lens. So they make it in Canon EF mount and Nikon F mount, but and actually I think they're also going to be making it in Pentax K mount if enough people pledge for that on Kickstarter. So that would be really cool to see. I love my K1000, but I needed a camera to mount this lens to. They included a Fuji X adapter with it for me, so that way I could mount it on my X-T3, but I also wanted to see what the lens really looked like on a full frame sensor or at full, 35mm if this were a film body, just to really see how the lens performs, because getting the full amount of that lens, I really wanted to see how much character there was, and I think for this particular lens, it really shows up a lot more with a full frame camera or, using a film camera. So that's why I have it on the 5D Mark IV here. I loaned this from Midwest Photo Exchange, so big thanks to them. And yeah, today we're just going to kind of take a look at the lens and how it works and, how my shooting has been with it, because this is a very different lens from what I'm used to. The lens itself is very Lomography-esque. This is a lens that I think a lot of people will either love or hate. It's a very classic design. It's not a clinical, really perfectly sharp from corner to corner kind of lens. You've got vignetting, and you have some just interesting kind of characteristic that you don't really see in modern lenses. So high contrast, high saturation, like a lot of Lomography lenses, like the LCA lenses, and it's been a lot of fun to shoot with. It's very different for sure, just in terms of usability and how it all works, but we'll go ahead and get into that. So it's a 32mm f2.5 lens, not the fastest out there at f2.5, but still, plenty usable. The aperture itself is on this disc that rotates, so all of the apertures are basically just drilled into this disc here, and then you just rotate it on the side, and you have little readouts on the side here, which this is just the prototype of the lens, so the finished copy, all of these little engravings for what your aperture is, it's going to be a lot easier to see on the final copy, but basically you just rotate it on the fly here off to the left, and it's pretty interesting. And then the focusing itself is on the very edge of the lens on the outside, and you can focus extremely close with this thing, up to I believe 0.4 meters, so really close, and 32mm, it's a good wide range. So that's how I've really tried to shoot it. I've tried to just take advantage of being able to focus, so close and just try and get that different kind of look. The out of focus elements, they're like really perfectly circular because of the lens, the aperture design itself. And it just has a really interesting kind of character to it. I really like that about it. And you can even kind of dial it in between stops and get this almost ghosting kind of look. It's not intended to be used that way, but just from playing around with the lens, I thought it might be something you could use if you're just trying to shoot weird and just get some different weird kind of results. You have that ability with this lens. The lens comes in brass, black painted brass, which is what this one here is, and you also have black anodized aluminum as well. So a few different finish options there. I personally think black paint, over the brass as it wears and starts to show, it looks amazing. A lot of people love that for, Leica film cameras because they love that black brass look, but I just think it looks really cool. So you have f2.5 all the way to f11. This lens is entirely manufactured and put together by hand, so it's a really nice, well-made feeling lens. And again, this is just the prototype. This isn't even actually the finished copy, but it just feels really good to use. It feels nice and solid. I've always wanted to try their Petzval lenses, and I haven't tried one of those before, but now after shooting with this, I really want to use one of those. It's been a lot of fun though. I'm going to put a link in the description to the Kickstarter so you can see a lot more about the lens, a lot lot of different photographers actually got to test it out before the Kickstarter was launched, so you can see what their results were like, both film and digital. I think if you were to use this lens, it really benefits from having a full frame or a full 35mm film negative. That way you have the entire reach of the lens there, and you can really see those, vignetted corners. A lot of the character of this lens kind of happens on the outer edge of the frame, if that makes sense. So if you're putting it on a crop sensor and you're kind of taking away some of that, I don't think you get the same kind of character. But if you're using a film camera or a full frame digital camera, I think this is a really cool look. And again, I think some people are either going to love this or they're going to hate it. But for me, it's been a lot of fun. So I hope this was helpful. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and just some of my test photos over the last week. I've been doing a lot more work with Lomography in terms of trying out different film cameras and also some new films that I'm going to be doing videos on very soon. So it's been a lot of fun though. They've been really good to work with, and I like what they're doing. So big thanks to Lomography for helping me out and letting me try this lens out, and big thanks to Midwest Photo again for loaning me this camera to use it with. But if you guys have any questions about the Lomogon at all, please feel free to leave those in the comments below. So thank you guys for everything. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.